All right, here we go with season 3, session 3 of our beautiful health, wealth, and happiness mastery training. I got to tell you, I just came off 4 weeks on the road. I met with some people, and I got that pulse of what's happening in the world right now. And in light of everything we've trained so far this season, really going after great ambition. Last session when we did the exceptional life model, getting started from scratch in health, wealth, and happiness in session 1. A lot of people are like, you know what? I'm growing, but the people around me aren't growing. How do I handle that? How do I create, build, and even let go of, or I like to say shift, certain relationships? So whether this helps you, somebody you love, you care for, feel free to share this training with people. I'll have it on YouTube, and definitely so many people that I've reached out to, just to kind of get the feedback of what's really necessary, needed today. They've asked, Char, can you just do some training on relationships, helping me sort out what I should really think about as I go into the next decade, the next year, to really create, build, and maintain significant, or I like to say even exceptional relationships. So first and foremost, thank you so much for being here. The reason I'm wearing the Apple shirt, if you're on with the live premiere of this training and you participate, I'm watching you. And if you participate in our business internet mastery training today too, guess what else? I'm giving away a Apple MacBook Air, or Apple MacBook Air, an iPad, and AirPods for the people, the top 3 people who participate the most, deliver the most value, really go after being part of this huge mastery community. 3 years, 3 months, moving along this timeline, really helping people. We're getting ready for an even bigger launch coming up here shortly as we really help people think about dialing in the 20s, but specifically making next year their very best year. I'm so excited about what's coming up. So before we get started, who am I? If you're new, some people are watching this video, they don't know who I am. Charly Caldwell II, certified high performance coach. Have been coaching over 3,600 sessions over the last 8 years in high performance coaching, which is essentially helping people live into their full, engaged, alive, connected, joyous, confident self consistently over the long term. We go through a very specific set of sessions, 36 at this point to be exact, that follow these beautiful books that our master coach Brendan has written. High Performance Habits talks about getting clear, getting more energy, getting courageous, productive, influential, getting masterful with your purpose, right? That's part of our core sessions, our first 12. Second, we get into the charge sessions. We really go after, what does it take to feel charged? The charged life, fully alive. The highest performers, 10 drives that they really consider, they think about, they go after and live into. One of my favorites, hope you're feeling it from me right now, right here, in this moment, is that drive of self-expression, creative expression, being your full self unapologetically, and really aiming, as we'll talk about here, to help others improve their lives somehow. The arc of high performance is about servant leadership, really making sure you're doing whatever you can to help others, uplift others, help them. I like to bucket in 2 places: improve their lives, and if you're blessed like I am, to help people grow their business too. So a lot of the work we're going to do today is going to help not only improve people's lives and your life, I hope, but it's also going to help grow business too. Does that make sense? Like, it's this essence of, it's not about me, it's about you and your journey. It's about me helping you down that path of, I like to say, mastery. And one of my mastery community members, beautiful, beautiful lady, said to me, hey, you know what? Wasn't exactly sure what mastery is, so let me break that down for you. Mastery is the art of continually growing your skill set, your competence, so that you can get to that level of almost unconscious competence in an area of expertise. So when I talk about health, wealth, and happiness mastery training, it means we're always on the hunt to get more masterful for our health, for our wealth, and that can be financial or just wealth in general, and our happiness. And we're doing the right things to feed our mind, like positive psychology work, these kind of things, to feed our mind with the right things to grow. That being said, if you're going to participate and you want to get in on this, remember, this is only for people in the live premiere of the video training. Go ahead, and I'd love for you to share one thing you've done in the last week or the last month to get more masterful in your training, in your growth, in the way that you can or do serve the world, share it. And maybe it's something like a article that was online or a video that was online. For example, if I was going to share right now for you, I would share my how to tell if it's time to end a relationship video that I just checked. It's over 6,300 views on YouTube. It's helped thousands of people dial in what I'm going to go over with you today too, the formula for change of how to tell if it's time to end a relationship or shift one, and a great structure or framework to think about how to do that. Cool? So I just want to make sure we're really setting the stage here to get some interaction going, to get participation going, to live into this shirt. Got this in the Apple store in Cupertino, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I wore it in the Apple store, in my local Apple store, and they're like, how'd you get that shirt? The guy knew that it was a shirt that was pretty limited in terms of its availability because they don't sell this shirt anywhere except in that store. So I was like, this is how I got it. He goes, I've never even been there and I worked for Apple for 3 years. So I just want to make sure you know I care for you. I really do love you. And I want you to know I feel for you. And I'm just so honored to be in this journey together with you. The human spirit, let's just go after it. Let me just help you dial in what you need, what you are trying to go after, and kind of get you there faster if I can. That's my job. That's my desire. I always say for my purpose statement, my goal on this planet is to help you from where you're at to where you want to be, exclamation point, asterisk, do so in the line of what I do, life, business, online. But so many people don't dream big enough. That's why there's an asterisk there. And I want to make sure we're dreaming really big and we're going after big aspirations. It's a big part of today's topic. So thank you so much for being here. Want to make sure you understand Certified High Performance Coaching. The last 12 sessions are on the Motivation Manifesto. They're called the Declarations. It's really about going after more like a philosophical dialogue, but really helping you just get the emotional catalyst, the emotional fuel to really go after that dream life, that sensation of, I got this. Simplicity, clarity, less stress, less overwhelm, purpose. All these kind of things tie together when we go after this together. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into, I always like to start with the big picture why. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? And I love to review the 5 Ps. So I really want you to put this in context. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're just, not an entrepreneur, but looking for just living the best life you can, these 5 Ps are great guideposts, if you will, guiding lights to really going after what it is to feel fully alive in life. So the first P, as we think about why we want to have, manifest, be of, and create great relationships, it's purpose, right? So I'd love for you to, as we think about this, think about and share more participation. What have you done in the last month or the last year that's felt incredibly purposeful for you? I'm going to try to give you a little bit of time to, participate as we do this. So what have you done last month or last year that's felt purposeful for you? For me, I just went on a 4-week trip. I felt like the first part of this year, I wasn't doing too much travel. And it wasn't really about the travel, but it was really about the relationships for me. To go out and see people that I haven't seen in 10, even 15 years. And I also was able to do something incredibly purposeful for me. And it's difficult for me to talk this through a little bit because it was so incredible. I was able to fly my girls, my beautiful girls, Paige and Josie, up to Michigan for 48 hours so they could see their moms, so that'd be my ex-wife, their mom's family, and specifically people they've never met. Well, they did. They met them when they were babies. But just to see the essence of these people who love and care for my girls that are out there in the world. And I got to tell you, that whole event went so incredibly well. They got to meet their uncle, who they haven't seen or heard of since 2006. So as of this filming, that's like 13 years ago, right? And we had such a great time together. It was so powerful. So when I look in the context for what we're going to talk through today, purpose to me is the building, creating, maintaining of exceptional relationships. Does that make sense? Now I'm blessed that I get to do that work one-on-one in person, right? Like just helping people and creating great relationships with those I love, care for, and serve. And that means you. But also that I get to help people along the lines of creating great relationships. Because here's what we know in business. The very best businesses, coaching businesses, service businesses, everything, are built on great relationships, right? So I hope this is kind of dialing things in for you as we lay the land down and the big perspective of what we're covering today. We'll go through some exercises, and I'm going to challenge you to really think about some of the stuff we'll cover, but I really want to make sure I set the tone and give you illustrations of real life examples in my life. So these last 4 weeks have been really an emotional highs, some emotional lows, as I've seen some real heavy duty pain with some of the people that I know or that are related to me. And I've had to, they're like, Char, since you're in town, can we talk? And I'm like, sure, what do you want? And then boom, they lay out this, what's going on in their life. We'll put it that way. And I'm like, all right, first of all, you know I'm here for you. Thank you for letting me have this time with you. Second of all, let's go after this. Let's go from the best of what's possible. Talking about down here in the formula for change, this V stands for vision. Let's create an amazing vision and go after it. I can't wait to go over that with you, by the way. So that all being said, first P, purpose. Second P, passion. To assure, as we think about life and relationships, that we have enthusiasm, connectedness. We like to talk sensorially, like we feel the senses when we're with somebody or we're doing something that we're passionate about. Specifically in today's context, we have passionate relationships that we're really going after. So my question for you, you don't have to participate by typing anything on this one. Are there relationships in your life right now that just aren't filled with the passion you'd like? And if there is, we'll be going through an exercise that will help with that too. So we got to really command that. A lot of people that I've been meeting with in the last 4 weeks, and I've met with like dozens, is, yeah, you know what? This is kind of a downer for me. It wasn't like this until recently, or it's been progressively doing this and not bringing the right amount of energy. And they'll say, and I ask them, are you bringing the right amount of energy in the relationship? No, I think I'm mirroring what the other person's doing, and that's common, that mirror neurons we have from that perspective. So the passion, second P here, as we recap this for you. Are you feeling purposeful? Are you feeling passionate about the relationships you have in life right now? See how this all interconnects? And next, are you bringing the joy? Do you have practices in play to bring positivity into those relationships? And are you doing that consistently? If you are not, then you and I need to talk. We need to go through a high performance strategy session so we can get focused, clear, energized, courageous, productive, and influential towards you feeling your best, bringing positivity, getting rid of neutral or negative mindset, or at least knowing when that stuff shows up how to course correct and really go after positivity in your life and in your relationships. How's that sound? Pretty awesome? Next up, productive. This beautiful P. So when you look at this through the lens of relationships, these P's, are the relationships you have productive towards your future vision? And I know for a lot of people who are new in self-improvement, personal development, these kind of things, self-help, they're like, I don't even know what that means. So let's kind of break that down for you. If you have a productive relationship, it's one where that person with you lives into that definition, I would say, of synergy. Together, you're more powerful than you are as individuals. That's like the definition of synergy. Together, we're more powerful than we are as individuals. And we're working towards some ambition, some desire, some goal. Now, I would put it in the context for what we teach in high performance, that it's about others. And we're going to hit that out of the park with this guy. That whatever you're working on is about the improving of lives, the betterment, the empowerment, the inspiration, the motivation of helping others in life. One of the big conversations I had with my girls as we were in Michigan was like, what can we do today to make your grandma and grandpa just a little more inspired, a little more empowered, a little more feel a little more loved? And my girls are on it. And I was just sitting back like, wow, these babies are amazing. Girls are 15 and 17. They're dialed in. So far, so good in terms of high school stuff, like high school drama, those kind of things. They're not on that train. They're on the train of, Dad, we're going to handle what we got. We're going to go after what we're doing. We're going to make things happen. And we're doing it to help others, to be the role model even for others. Does that all make sense? And that, in line of what we talk about in productivity, is productive. So let me kind of paint the frame for you at a high level. Productivity, at least the way we teach it in high performance, is where we're going after our life's work, our life's ambitions, while we're diligently and thoroughly and joyously handling our responsibilities. So a lot of people think of production as like, I'm getting more done. But in the highest performing way, we're getting things done and taking care of responsibilities, but we're also going after that amazing life's ambition. Sometimes people call that a bucket list. We're going after stuff so that we know when we look back on our life, we have zero regrets. We don't live into what, if you've read the book, I love the book, I reread it, I reread my notes every year, the 5 regrets of the dying. We look back on our life and, while I had my health, I lived it. I went after it. And maybe I didn't always. And maybe this is the moment for you where you're like, you know what, I got to pivot. I got to shift. Going into the next decade, going into the next year, here's some things I got to do to feel more alive, to really go after my life's ambitions, to define them, to create a vision for them, and then just sort of think through strategically how I can make that happen. If something's coming up for you right now, always know you can reach out to me. I am happy to get on a call with you. I am happy to talk that out with you. I spend a lot of time there, so I'm more than willing to make that rock for you and really help you think bigger, as we talked about earlier, going after a bigger, version of what's possible for you. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for us. Thank you so much for being here and participating. So go over the last P, and then I got another participation exercise for you. And that last P is profitable. We talk about health, wealth, and happiness. And here's what I've learned, and this is my life, and so many that I've had the honor of working with and coaching, is that when you align these in the right ways, and we'll talk about this in our Business Internet Monthly or Business Internet Mastery Training, and you have the right offers in play that can help people specifically in certain ways, you can make a profitable business out of it. So many people that I've coached are like, I could never help people like you do and make money. And then immediately we're like, when you say the word never, we're going to bust that. Sorry. Let's just flip that. I could always help people like you do, Charlie. Okay, let's break that down. How? And then we start to think through the formula I'll be teaching later today in our Business Internet Training is the ROTC. I'm not going to go over it now with you. You watch that and participate in that one. But it's really critical for me to help you understand when you have these things in alignment, you really feel, as we teach in the charge, fully alive and connected. So many people are so distant from the idea of helping others. They just haven't been down that path. But the moment you see somebody make progress because of you, because you helped them, taught them, coached them, empowered them, inspired them to take decisive action, something shifts. You ever felt that? Some of the coaches in our group are like, yeah, I feel that every day, dude. That's the magic. That's the power. And I'm so blessed to be able to do that work, but be here with you and help you. That being said, this ends the why, the bigger perspective part of our training today. So, participation time. Would love for you to take a moment and assess, rating 0 to 10 in each of these areas, how purposeful you felt in the last month. So purpose, dash, 5 out of 10. Passionate you felt in general in life over the last month. Passionate, 0, I don't have any passion. I don't even have a pulse. 10, I'm owning it. I'm emotionally enthused. I'm like Tarzan swinging on these ropes of passion all day long. How positive you felt. How you've been doing it, maintaining a positive psychology, but also course correcting if neutral or negative thoughts come up. How productive have you felt in the context for what I shared? Production in the sense of going after your life streams while handling your responsibilities. And profitable. How are you doing there? 0, yeah. Oops, I really got to dial some things in. And if that's you, no judgment, I'm here to help you. So let's get on a call, let's get in a session, whatever that takes for you to really own that for you. So if you're really wanting to go after the apples, as we'll call them, give yourself those ratings, post them in the comments. I'll be watching for them. I'll be looking for you. I'm tallying them up. I'm going to see who's really wants to be able to go after this. The reason, on a side note, that I chose Apple products is because Apple's why is to empower you to create change in the world through your beautiful gifts. They happen to do that through the power of an iPad. You can draw and you can create. Through the power of the Mac, where you can create movies and create graphics and create quote cards and do all that. And through the power of learning through AirPods, where you can listen and grow. So these are all thematic with what I teach and what I believe in health, wealth, and happiness. Does that all make sense? It's not just like, I'm throwing some products out there. These products, I hope, my dream, my desire, my goal for you is that you'll use them to forward your mission in the world and really help people. And if you need some help taking action on that and really developing vision, strategy, and plan, I'm your man. So let's rock it. All right, now let's dive deep into the topic, how to create, build, even let go of relationships. I'm going to start with the creating and building. I want you to keep one thing in mind. If you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a business owner, remember, great relationships are what great businesses are composed of. Now remember, in our previous trainings, we talked about starting from scratch in health, wealth, and happiness. We talked about, last session, the exceptional life model. So the first one was, here's the lay of the land. Here's how to start from scratch. The second one, here's a great ambition for how to live a full life. But guess what happens when you start to change? People around you, they're not on board with that. Sometimes they sabotage, or sometimes they trigger you to self-sabotage. And sometimes you have to make the call. You know what? I'm going this way. You don't seem to be wanting to come with me. Now, in light of what I'm going to share to start, it's really important. There's great communication and great trust, right? So what I really want to start this conversation with as we get into training is, what is it for you? What's your definition of a great relationship? Now, I recognize many people that watch this training, and especially replays and stuff like that, they haven't really given that much consideration. Well, I have given that, I don't even know, thousands of hours of consideration, but I've also been on coaching calls, thousands of hours of coaching calls where we've considered that, and we've laid the land for that. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to share with you is an exercise that's been incredibly powerful from a results perspective, both from people I've coached, but also from business owners, as to how to increase their love of their business by pre-qualifying customers. Depending on the context, where you have questions you ask, and you have things that are like, you know what, this customer isn't a good fit for us. They're negative. They have these traits, qualities, and characteristics that I don't want to deal with. I've learned my lesson. Like, there was an idiom or a theme I believed in early on: the customer is always right. And it wasn't until 1998 when I had to fire my first customer, which was very therapeutic, incredible experience, that I was like, the customer is not always right. For 10 years I believed that and put myself through a lot of crap because of it. Does that make sense? And I was like, no, the customer is not always right. As a matter of fact, this customer is tearing our team apart because of what just the negative, vile stuff they're doing. I gotta let them go. I had to command and be courageous about that. And guess what? I let them go, and then I let a few others go. And as I did that, I felt just the overwhelming sensation that we were keeping the great people. And my team was like, Char, congratulations, you did what? Oh my gosh, I'd never have to take a call or be in front of that person again. Thank you so much for taking care of me. So you see what I did there as an illustration for you is to help team build, but it was against what my belief system was up until that point. And sometimes that's a big part of a great relationship. It pop in beliefs, pop in, mindset, labels, these kind of things to go after creating a better relationship. So my first step in terms of the training today is define in your words what a great relationship is. Now, I recognize a lot of people are like, I don't even know where to start with that. So sometimes it's easier to say, well, I know what a great relationship is not. There's emotional negativity. There's a lot of blame, excuse, denial, gossip, negative, just outpouring of comments and just vulgarity and stuff like that. Okay, you can label those things or put those things down, but I would challenge you to have another sheet of paper that did the contrasting exercise for those things. So instead of vulgarity, maybe they're always uplifting me. They're always asking how they can help. They're always sharing positive thoughts. You follow? And if you don't believe that's true for people, then you don't know me. Because I'm one of those people. It wasn't always that way. In the last 10 years, it became that way. Just by sheer will. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to show up in the world. So it's an absolute honor to be here for you. Because a lot of people, and we'll talk about this down here, they just don't have this in their life. And I didn't recognize that. I'm like, you don't have anybody? They're like, no. As a matter of fact, I have the exact opposite. And I got a lot of it. All these frowny faces. Not all these happy faces. These frowny faces of struggle versus the happy faces of ambition, we'll call it. So they don't have that. So let's go through this for me, and maybe this will help you sort of formulate what this is for you. When I think of the qualities And you know, if I'm writing, you should be writing in your notes. So the traits and characteristics of a great relationship. These are the words that come to mind. And you may have seen, if you've been in our mastery community for a while, I did an entire training on unconditional love and how my grandparents, my mom's parents, Bob and Bernice, were the people who just were those people. And I didn't know at the time, because I was a kid, that all my friends didn't have grandparents like that. Just talking about them gets me all teary-eyed, a little bit. I got goosebumps going on. Thanks, Bob and B. They were the people. Friday night, it wasn't, Charles, let's sit down and watch TV. Back in the day, we didn't have digital devices, right? I'm just a little older than that. But they took me to the deaf school in downtown Detroit. We lived near Detroit. And we would help the deaf school children who were there over the weekend have fun, because their parents, if they were there on the weekend, their parents did not come pick them up. My grandparents knew that. They're like, let's go bring family to them. They just demonstrated unconditional love all the time. It wasn't like they said, I'm of unconditional love. They just were it. Does that make sense? They weren't talking about it, they were living it. That's the magic here. So that's the first thing that I qualify for a great relationship. And I'm looking for traits. I'm looking for ways that people are demonstrating it. And I can see that in certain people. And I help people build that in other contexts. Here's the reason why I believe that I've been able to maintain clients in my other business for 12, 15, 20 years. It's because no matter what shows up, it's the internet marketing business, they know I'm taking care of them in their business. And if they need help in their life, I got that too. And that comes from a place of just love right here. And I just challenge you, if you're thinking this through from a great relationship perspective or from a business perspective, are you demonstrating unconditional love to your clients, to your family, to yourself in a consistent, enduring way for the long term? Now, when I say those words, high performers in the room, no, that's the definition of high performance. Bringing engagement, joy, confidence consistently over the long term while maintaining well-being and positive relationships. You see how this all connects? So I don't know what it is for you, but I do know this. When I think of a great relationship, whether that's in life or in business, there's got to be this. Got to be this. And if that person has sparkles or glimmers of hope in that realm, then I'm on it. I'm like, hey, you know what? This trait of yours is really powerful. And we'll talk about that. And I'm not the guy that used to be that guy. So I feel courageous when I open that door. So I'd love for you to assess right now people in your life who are of unconditional love, and whether they're the people that maybe you're more attracted to, maybe you build better relationships with, or maybe you need to do some work there. Cool? Next trait, presence. There's no better gift, especially today in my world, than you looking at me without a phone, without a device, active listening, having a great conversation. And that conversation's arc is not about frowny people, blame, excuse, denial, gossip, struggle. It might be about struggle for a little bit, your challenge, your frustration, but we're working together to express that and then go after this massive happy, massive ambition, massive desire, hope, goal for a better tomorrow. Keep in mind, in the coaching world, our job as high performance coaches, and I got so many in our mastery community that are ready to help you too, is to create a better future for you, to create a better vision. We'll go over the formula for change, and the V is vision. To create a better vision for you and then help you, and we'll go over this part of the formula for change. Might as well just go over it now. To create some first steps, some actionable items to move towards that endeavor. Does that make sense? Oh, it's so powerful. So presence, I measure that. Next up, care. How caring? Another qualifier for me, compassionate. There's no, and it comes right from my grandparents. There's no better feeling for me meeting somebody new when they demonstrate, either like physically demonstrate or verbally demonstrate, unconditional love and compassion. So just in case you're not clear on what compassion is, one of the definitions of compassion is having a desire to help somebody, like recognizing somebody's in pain or a struggle and having a desire to help them. Like that's compassionate. That's compassion and really going after it. As opposed to empathy, which is like putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Compassion is looking at somebody and saying, hey, you seem to be in pain. I have a desire to alleviate that for you, help you through that. These two words together, times this and this, watch out, world. Talk about moving forward, going after it. We'll tie it into this in just a minute, this piece. But I just want to make sure you're getting the context here. The last way that I really think about great relationships, respectful. Really being respectful of the other person and their journey. I think of that like this, not bringing judgment, even though some things may fire up for you. I work diligently in coaching calls, and it's not even work anymore, but it used to be, to not bring judgment to what they say, but to say, you know what, that's your path, that's your life, that's what's showing up for you. Here's what we're going to do to try to help. What are you trying to accomplish? What can we do to sort of create a better future for you and go after it? Does that make sense? So I don't know what your words are, but participation time, I'd love for you at least to list one or two. One or two qualities, traits, characteristics that really are the guideposts, the fundamentals for you to have a great relationship. Sometimes, like I said, it's easier to go from here's what I know I don't want in a relationship. And I would challenge you to map those out one by one and then do a contrasting exercise on another piece of paper or whatever that is for you. Could be in a spreadsheet. And say, if it's vulgarity that these people are dishing out, my family, my friends, whatever, over here, they're sending out positive inspirational words. Like my grandma was a master of this. She'd come out and go, sweetheart. And she was very religious. She would sing this song, "This is the day that the Lord has made, we shall rejoice and be glad in it." And I can still hear her singing it. And she goes, "I'm just so blessed to be here with you. And I'm so happy you're up north," is where I used to go to be with them. That's what we call it, Michigan, up north. I was from the Detroit area. Up north was Houghton Lake. If you go on a map, you can see where that is. And I'm so happy you're here with us up north, and we're going to have so much fun today, sweetie. Like, that's you know what I mean? That's the opposite of vulgarity, right? Just telling you that. I just feel her spirit so strongly. So incredibly powerful. So when I think about these words, though, there's another element, and we've kind of covered this. I want to just do a shout out to my beautiful friend. I would dare say my first love. Back in second grade, moved out from downtown Detroit to Howell, Michigan. My neighbor at the time didn't know her when I moved in, and her mom and her dad and her brother, Mike, they were my very best, people. As we progressed, my best friends. Then we became girlfriend and boyfriend in fifth grade. And we had this conversation recently about this. When we think about all these pieces, and then we go after what we've talked about from a high performance perspective, we went over this topic. Asking, are they selfish or selfless? Does that make sense? I love that saying. Thanks, Jen, for bringing that up in one of our vision, strategy, and planning sessions. I love the fact that we have a qualifier here. I like to think of it like a fuel gauge. Is the person that I want to have a relationship with, is the customer that I want to help grow their business or help them improve their life, is their gauge more towards me-centric, or is it more towards helping the world and really going after bigger ambitions that way? And if it's more towards me-centric, like it's over here, do they have an ambition to go over here? And so when I think of a great relationship, these are the things that really ignite me. They're more about selflessness, really helping others improve their life somehow or grow their businesses or both. They have unconditional love, presence, care, compassion, respect. And so when I meet with new clients for any of my businesses, these are all pre-qualifiers. Does that make sense? I'll ask questions specifically to see how they respond. I'll watch them when they're in the meeting about presence. Are they checking their device? Are they not listening? Are they not engaged? Because I'll tell you what, in the front end of a relationship, if that's going on, that typically amplifies over time. Like that behavior amplifies. That's not the kind of people I want to be around. That's not the kind of people I want to serve. I want to serve people that are in. I want to serve people that are like of the deep work, digital minimalism. Cal Newport's work is so great. That are really emotionally engaged and connected with what we're doing and going after it and setting ambitions to help others. You follow? It's so critical that you get this and you make it yours. So I hope this paints a tone, paints a frame around how to think about defining your best relationships. I use these 5 elements and this concept to really set the stage. By no means is it comprehensive or all-inclusive, but it really sets good guidelines for me when I think about relationships. You follow? So participation time. Would love for you to share maybe a word or two. What it is for you that qualifies great relationships. Quality, a characteristic, a trait. What is it? What is it for you? Second part of our training today. Do you know, I like to call it their currency. For the people that you have great relationships with, this could be customers, could be your significant other, could be your kids. Do you know 3 to 5 of their extrinsic and 1 to 3 of their intrinsic values for what's important to them? So if those words are like, I don't even know what that means, then let's break it down. Now this comes from our work in high performance, specifically if you're in our mastery community, go into session 10 of the core, Persuasion Mastery, and look through the persuasion worksheet. In there you'll see an element that says the idea, are you varying people's intrinsic and extrinsic values when you're trying to help them understand or influence them towards a decision? Does that make sense? So it may not make sense because we haven't defined extrinsic and intrinsic yet, but the idea here is extrinsic things are like money, status, power, fame, social recognition. Intrinsic things are things that are important to them that don't really tie into extrinsic things. So things like personal freedom, the ability to do what they want. Financial freedom can be tied intrinsically, but it's typically more of a money play on the extrinsic side. So here's what I know. When I think about having great relationships, in my mind, I'm like, I know they love, from the extrinsic side, having great meals at Carrabba's. Specifically, if you know me, I love lasagna. So if you have lasagna in the house, or you want to take me out for lasagna, you're dialed right into my currency. You follow? And intrinsically, I love having great communication and connection with people. Like really having heart-to-heart conversation, especially around these principles. Does that make sense? So the idea here is to say, if you're going to have a great relationship, is to ask questions that help you understand what's important to them. And then most importantly, do you consistently live into delivering on those things? So let me kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, paint the frame for you. If you know what's important to me is unconditional love, presence, care, compassion, respect, and you know I'm about helping others, and you said to me, Char, I know you love lasagna, so these could be bundled over here. Lasagna could be bundled here as a status or whatever you want to call it. And you said to me, Char, I'm going to take you to have the best lasagna. It doesn't have to be at Carrabba's, but I'm going to take you to have the best lasagna ever. And I just want to sit and talk about how, or brainstorm, how we can help the world together. And we don't have to do anything with it, but I just want to just go. That would be the highest level of me, like showing up for that. Like I would feel so incredible. If you and I have a relationship that's got that context, you would have just bumped it up. You follow? Because you're talking my currency. You see? So big questions to ask to understand what people's currency is what's important to you in life right now. So you may want to write these down. And if you have any, please add value, participation, apples, to other questions, because I'm going to make sure those are available in the chat log, and we'll make sure that that's there. So the idea is this. What's important to you in life right now? People will say things like, what's important to me is having time with my kids. Okay. How do you like to have time with your kids? Like, what do you like to do? Well, I live in Florida, so people are like, I like to go to Busch Gardens for the day. Okay. And I like to go to Disney for a weekend. Okay. So in my mind, I'm thinking, how can I help them go to Busch Gardens or Disney and create a pocket of time where they just have full presence, care, compassion, unconditional love, respect for each other as they enjoy their time together. You see how this all interconnects? I hope you're feeling it. This is defining the rules of the freaking game of life towards great relationships. And I really hope you feel how this all interconnects. So let me give you a few other questions just so you have some fuel. And I would challenge you to try these out. When you think about extrinsic and extrinsic values, what's your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite thing to eat? What's one of your fondest memories where you were having a great day? What's a dream day for you? Like, just break it down. Tell me how you're waking up. What you're listening to. For me, that might be Lana Del Rey's Black Beauty, if you haven't heard that song. fantastic, very sensorial, very calming, really helps me sort of course correct. Big thing here too. What is it when you think about feeling your best? What is it that helps you feel your best? What do you do that helps you feel your best? When I'm thinking of that, as I'm telling you this, I'm thinking of a couple of people that said, you know what feels my best? Go to a spa, go to the beach, read a great book. Boom. 3 pieces of currency. If I am living into selfless, I'm like, okay, how can I help this person go to the spa, go to the beach, and read a great book? Well, let's start with the book. Have you read Deep Work by Cal Newport? And maybe they don't want to read self-help. That's fine. Maybe they want to read something else. I might suggest something else. Okay, how can I help you? You want me to go to the beach with you? Do you want me to set you up? I got people that I know that can help you. Do you have a person you go to for the spa? Or people you go to for the spa? Let's set that up. Maybe I'll give you a gift card. You follow? I hope you're seeing, as we think about the manifestation of maintaining, building great relationships for the long term. Cool? Whew, we're crushing it. I hope you're feeling it. I'd love for you to take a moment, Apple time, to really say, what is it so far that you needed to hear? Maybe it was a new insight, maybe it's something you heard, but you really got to double down on it, that you loved in our time together so far. Is there anything there for you? I sure hope so, because I think we're pretty much crushing it together. And I'm so honored to be on this journey with you. If some stuff's showing up for you and you're just like, Char, I got a situation, I don't know how to handle it, please reach out to me. Let me know. We'll get on a call. We'll make sure we take care of you. Just to really own that for you, really, really critical. The third element I touched on, I want to make sure we hit it out of the park for you. Do you consistently connect, share, and live into 1 and 2? Like, are you refreshing, keeping top of mind what's important to you for a great relationship? This, for people that are new to this kind of dialogue, is difficult at first because they don't have they don't have the experience of, oh my gosh, this person that I'm dealing with or could deal with on a customer relationship level is pretty toxic. Well, now I'm standing confident and I know they don't meet my criteria for what a great relationship is. I'm going to have to divert them. I'm going to have to tell them I'm not going to be able to help them. And you may have to come up with creative ways for that. And if you need help there, I'm the master of that, so let me know. Second, the selfish versus selfless. Are you going after relationships with people who are more on this side? And is it even important to you? Some people are like, no, I don't even care. Other people are like, you know what? I'm looking for people who are on the hunt to help the world be better. And let me tell you, I think you already know, the world needs more of us doing this. You follow? Especially right now. Do you know their currency? The people that are of those relationships. And are you living into connecting, sharing, reiterating? It's just a simple statement in a conversation with somebody you really care for. I know it's important to you to have free time, to read, to go to the spa and go to the beach. Have you put that in your life recently? Do you want me to help you with that? You know how that can feel to somebody who that's their currency, that's their language? I hope you're seeing how this plays out. So the last part of our training today really hits on how to let go of or downshift relationships. And this is a big part of, I didn't know how to do this until I hit high performance and how to do it masterfully. So there's a couple principles here, and I'm going to go over the formula for change. I got more in-depth training because we're running a little tight on time in my YouTube video that I'll be sure to link to in the replay. But the idea is that when we think about all these qualities and traits and characteristics and currencies and stuff like that, and then we do an assessment of who's in our life, we're like, oh my goodness, none of this matches, or only a little bit of it matches, right? How do I go out and build more relationships with people of this type? I was coaching a guy on an island in Washington, and he said, Char, there's nobody on this island who is even of the happy, ambitious mindset. They're all grumpy, just bitter. Ugh. And he recognized, like I said, nobody on the island, he recognized after we've been coaching for a while that he wasn't being this guy. He wasn't asking the right questions. He was not these people that I thought were these people, the grumpier, were happy, ambitious. I just wasn't asking the right questions to being the right guy in that context. So I want you to be careful about labeling and bringing judgment to people you already think are a neutral negative. They just may be in a mode or a mood, or they may be conditioned that way around you for whatever reason, but they may be happy, ambitious. But our goal as we think about relationships is to really understand what we want to be around and where those people are. There's no better place, as so many of us in the community know, than to go to a Brendan event. Brendan Bouchard, our master coach, certified high performance coach. Especially, I'm looking forward to, in the next month, I'm going to CHPC, certified high performance coaching recertification. All the coaches seem to be of the happy, ambitious mindset. I'm sure there's a few that aren't. But the idea is you're around people who are really going after this in a room, and there's like a few hundred of them. So I would challenge you as you think about shifting to create more growth-minded friends. That's kind of what we call it. Growth-minded friends. To say, what are the situations, the events, the networking events, whatever it is that I can put myself in to find more of these people. And then on the other side of it, I would challenge you to also think about the people you already know, asking better questions. Gone over a lot of those here. Does that make sense? A great question start for that, with people you already know. Hey, what is your goal in the next year? What are you trying to accomplish in the next year, next 5 years, next decade? By the end of 2020s, like 2029, December 31st, what are you hoping to have achieved in life or in business? Like that sets an ambition for the future. And if they respond with, I don't even think that far ahead, they may not be your people. If they respond with, I don't even know. But that's a great question. And then you can start to help them talk through that. You follow? That's living into these kind of traits and qualities and characteristics. So the idea is, in terms of letting go of relationships or shifting relationships, is we spend less time with the negative people, but we have assessed whether they're just negative in the context for how we know them, or we ask them questions, we can maybe pop them into an ambitious state towards happy, future-oriented. Does that make sense? And then we go out and we find people to grow with. Aiming for 3 to 5 growth friends. I'm fortunate, I've got dozens. And I got to tell you, if you do not have a growth friend in your life, you do now. Talk to me. I'm more than happy to be your growth friend. And I'm already growth friends for so many people who watch this, but want to make sure I'm taking care of you, helping you towards whatever your ambitions are in the future, and recognizing they may change today or tomorrow, and just report it out and let's go. Let's make it happen. So the final piece to this is the formula for change, and it's helped so many people in the last 4 weeks that I've said. Like I said, the deep dive training on it is in YouTube, and I'll make sure I link to it below. But the idea is this, and the way it works is that when you have any change in your life, there's kind of a formula you can work to just call out, emotionally articulate, so that you can overcome the R, which is resistance, by knowing these things. So let me break it down for you. If you're going to do a change in your life, and the way that I shared in that video is when I had to get divorced, my coaches at the time challenged me to journal to the formula for change. And that's the reason why I'm in a high-rise condo. That's where the studio in the sky is. I sold 90% of my things, got my dream car, and live into a life where I could be the best dad I could be. So I'm going to give you that as an illustration as I walk this through, because divorce is a pretty heavy-duty topic for a lot of people, and a lot of people I know are contemplating it. And this is a really helpful exercise. Even if it isn't divorce for you, it's just changing something in your life, a job, whatever, or a relationship. This is helpful as well. So the first part of it is dissatisfaction times vision times first steps. So let me break that out for you. Dissatisfaction times vision times first steps is greater than the resistance of making the change. So that may be a little heady and maybe a little intellectual. Let's break it down. When I journaled, I took 1 page for each of these. And I have, what am I dissatisfied about in my relationship? Back in 2005 with my ex-wife, my girl's mom. Then I did a journal page on what is my vision for me and my girls. Subtracting the relationship with their mom, just the vision. What am I going to do? And I got to tell you, just telling you this, it's going to be chills. What are we going to do together? We're going to play putt-putt. We're going to go to the beach. If I get this high-rise condo, there's a park right next door. They got a train we can ride. They got a whole yard I do not have to mow to play in, which I grew up on 10 acres and had to mow a lot of it just to play softball and volleyball and all that in the summer in Michigan. So I'm like, I don't have to mow it. It's always available. We can go play anytime we want. These were all the things that came up for me, right? And the next piece with the first steps. All right, if I'm going to be clear about moving towards this ambition of a life where I'm not married anymore and I'm trying to be the best dad I can be and the best person I can be, what are the first steps? What's my actionable items to go after it. So for me, just for you to have illustration, I went through and I said, all right, I got to research condos. I got to research the car. I got to research the best place that I can create that lifestyle for my girls and I. I got to research how to design an interior of a place, because that was never my job. And if you know my story, back in 2006 when I moved into the high-rise condo, it was brand new builds. It was all white with no window treatments. It stayed that way for like 6 months. Literally, I had a big screen TV, which back then was important to me, and a nice bed. And there was no window treatments and all white for like 6 months. And I had a folding chair or folding table and folding chairs. I move around. I look back on that and I love it, because I wasn't sure what to do. And then a great friend of mine, his wife came and she goes, go to Barnes and Noble and get a book, get a bunch of design books, just start cutting out stuff you like. So I don't think I still have the cutouts, but if you looked through like the living room today, 13 years later, whatever it is, it's the same. It's exactly what those cutouts were. And it feels so good. Thank you to that lovely lady for helping me there. That was a piece. But I hope this helps. So the dissatisfaction piece, I had a journal on what I was dissatisfied with. Arguments, not being the best role model, having to defend myself over just really ridiculous things, having to deal with what we discovered later was emotional instability on the mom's part, like diagnosable, having to live in a state of chaos. And I'm very much a structured guy, so that was pretty harmful for me over time, and it only got worse. So I was just journaling all these things. Then came the hardest part, the resistance. I had to think through, why am I resisting this change? And I'm going to be so open and honest with you. The biggest piece to this, and it's really hard for me to talk about this, the biggest piece to this resistance was not being there for my girls every night. Recognizing that, you know what, if we go through this separation, I'm not going to physically be with my girls every night. And there's a part of me, and I don't know if you're a parent, you might get this, there's a part of me that felt like, must protect my babies. It's the best way to put it. A primal instinct to protect my babies. And at the time, they were like 1 and 3. So they were young, and like, you just, daddy bear, man, he's just got to protect his babies. But I'm like, all right. So I had to get counseling for that. Thanks to Denise, my psychotherapist, counselor, she just helped me so much. And if you're having struggles like that, if you're going through a divorce or you're thinking about it, get some professional help. That's all I can tell you. She not only helped me through that, she helped me define a parenting plan that really set a precedent for how we could have a great relationship and be great parents. Does that make sense? Really, really, really powerful. And I hope you're sensing, and this is real life illustration here, how powerful the formula for change was. So when we think back to what I've shared with you, the vision and the first steps really ignited the ambition of what's possible for the future, having great people, being a great person, not being tagged for this stupid bleep stuff, right? This is just what was going on in my life at the time. Rebooting my life, going after it, but really being careful about who I was letting in, you know? Not putting a wall up to not let anybody in, by any means, but being careful to make sure the people that I want in my life are of these characteristics and traits and qualities. And I hope you're seeing how this all comes together. So if you're struggling with how to shift, how to change, how to let go of a relationship, consider the formula for change. Also consider putting yourself around people who are of a more ambitious mindset, or who are of an ambitious mindset would always be the case for me, but are also of the traits, qualities, and characteristics that matter to you. These matter to me. If you have this times this, we need to talk. The beauty is we have so many of these beautiful souls in our mastery community. I know, I'm looking at you, rocking it out, going after it. So I'd love to know, participation time, Apple time, what is it that I've shared so far in this training that has pivoted, that has helped, that has changed, that has given you new perspective around really going after better tomorrows, better relationships, being the best you can be, going after it. What is it? It's been a tough one for me, got to be honest. So I hope you're sensing we're on this journey together, rocking it out. I'm here for you. I care for you. I unconditionally love you. And I want to make sure you're taken care of from today forward, especially as we go into the new year. I got some really great plans. We're going to be rolling that out in November. The timing of this is filmed in October, and we'll be seeing how we're going to actuate that. That being said, this ends the training part of our work today. Now it's action items, and we're going to blast through this so that you can leave our training today hopefully having made some major significant progress on the topic to create, build, and even let go of some great relationships. Very first item, define your power 5. And maybe it's more than 5, that's totally cool. But what are the 5 qualities, traits, and characteristics that you would define as a great relationship that sort of set the standard, that you could say when you meet somebody, are they of unconditional love? Are they present? Are they caring? Are they compassionate? Are they respectful? Does that all make sense? Second, list everyone you know and rate them. If you're like Patrick in our community and I, we get spreadsheets out, Camilla too, maybe Nina, some of the others. We get spreadsheets out, we put names in, we do ratings. If you don't want to get too articulate, you don't have to rate them in all these areas. You can put a smiley face, a middle, like a straight face, and a frowny face, and be like, these people, just from a feeling perspective, these are people, the happy face people, I need to be around more. They're ambitious. They're going after stuff. I need to put myself in their realm more often. Maybe you know some, maybe you don't. If you don't, you do now. I'm here for you. Third, document their currencies. And, oh my goodness, when you put this up and you give this a go, just to deal with one person, you're going to see some stuff. Document their currencies. Like maybe another field in your spreadsheet where you've got this and you document their currencies. And you're like, oh, you know what? They love lasagna. They love going to the park. They love going to the beach. They love going to the spa. They love just time reading. Okay. How can I help them along their ambition line towards those currencies? Then you strategize and take action. All right. In the next week, I'm going to reach out to Bob. He loves to go to the beach. Bob, I know you love going to the beach, and I know you love good drinks. Let's go down to, and this is my world, the Continental in Naples, and then we'll walk the beach for an hour. Is that all right? Charlie, you what? When? Let's go. That's the flip. That's the piece to making this real. Now, if you do that consistently over the long term, you know where that goes. I hope you know where that goes. That all make sense? Next, need to shift. Journal 1 page per element of any of the relationships you need to pivot or shift. And if it's a close one to you, spend a lot of time here. I'm coaching 2 people going through divorce right now, and we've been working this because it's, there's the piece of the past, the struggle, the challenge, the frustration of why they're where they're at. But remember, I'm a coach. I'm a high performance coach. So my aim is to create better futures for each of them. Coaching is about creating better futures. Therapy is about healing your past or working through your past. Coaching's, let's future oriented, let's go after it. So I hope with everything we've covered in this session today, that you've really got something out of it, that you've enjoyed our time together, that you know I'm here to help you live into those beautiful 5 Ps. And I think this demonstrates it very, very well. To have more purpose in your life, especially in the context of what we've covered, to have more emotional connection. I can tell you more passion comes when you're around passionate people. It's like the average of the 5 people you're around, right? To have more joy and positivity in your life, to have more productivity. And again, going after your life's ambitions, assuming you define those, as well as taking care of your responsibilities, and to live more profitably too. Tell you what, when you're around great people doing great things, they're going to include you in stuff. And it's probably going to lead to, depending on if you have a business or not, more income. It just happens to work out that way. I don't know why or how. It just does. So it's been an absolute honor being with you as the last participation exercise. I'd love for you to share one thing that you got out of today's exercise. It could be a theme. It could be as simple as this, and this is my one thing. I'm going to double down on assuring I'm taking care of the people who I have great relationships with. That's it. I'll probably follow that. Does that make sense? Thank you so much. Cannot wait to dive into our business internet mastery training with you. That's the second part of the Apple participation.